Ancient builders achieved engineering marvels that modern science struggles to explain. This journey through 20 ancient projects that required technology far beyond their time will reshape your understanding of human history. You will discover how civilizations without computers or steel erected monuments with impossible precision and crafted devices that seem to belong to the future. How did a 2,000-year-old bronze mechanism predict celestial events with the accuracy of a modern computer? What forgotten knowledge allowed massive stone spheres to be shaped with near-perfect symmetry across a jungle? By the end, you will see the past not as a primitive prelude, but as a gallery of sophisticated innovation. What does the ambition of these ancient minds reveal about our own potential for discovery? From the depths of the Aegean Sea, a corroded lump of bronze and wood emerged to rewrite history. Found within the wreck of a Roman cargo ship near the Greek island of Antikythera, this unassuming object sat in a museum for decades before its true nature was understood. It was not a statue or a simple navigational tool, but an intricate mechanical computer. Crafted around 2,200 years ago, the Antikythera mechanism consists of at least 30 finely meshed bronze gears, housed in a wooden case no larger than a shoebox. When a hand crank was turned, this sophisticated device came to life, its dials and pointers moving to display the predicted positions of the sun, the moon, and known planets. It could forecast lunar eclipses and even model the irregular orbit of the moon with stunning accuracy, all through a complex system of interlocking gears. The most astonishing part is a component known as a differential gear. This ingenious arrangement, which allows two speeds to be averaged, is essential for things like modern car axles. Yet, after the Antikythera mechanism was lost, this same technology does not reappear in the historical record for over 1,500 years. How could such miniaturization and mechanical genius exist in a world we often picture as dominated by simple tools and manual labor? The craftsmanship implies a level of knowledge we never knew the Hellenistic world possessed. This was not a one-off curiosity, but the product of a sophisticated tradition of engineering and astronomy. It suggests the existence of workshops where master craftsmen and philosophers collaborated, blending celestial observation with precise metalworking. The device stands as a silent witness to an entire school of technological thought that vanished, its secrets sinking to the seabed for centuries. What other profound inventions were lost in the gap between ancient wisdom and the modern world? The ambition that created the Antikythera mechanism found its echo on a far grander scale under the Egyptian sun. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not merely a tomb, it is a mountain crafted by human hands. For over 3,800 years, it remained the tallest structure on Earth, a testament to a vision so immense it defies belief even today. Constructed around 2580 BCE for the pharaoh Khufu, its statistics are still staggering. An estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing multiple tons, were perfectly positioned to form a structure covering over 13 acres. But the true marvel is not its size, it is its impossible precision. The pyramid's base is leveled to within less than an inch across its entire vast foundation. Even more incredibly, its sides are aligned almost perfectly to the cardinal directions, with an error so slight it rivals what modern engineers could achieve. How did ancient surveyors achieve such accuracy without lasers or satellites? They likely used the stars themselves, tracking the circular motion of certain constellations to find true north with astonishing skill. This celestial alignment is just the beginning. Inside, the pyramid reveals an engineering puzzle, The king's chamber lies deep within the core, roofed by gigantic granite beams, each weighing over 50 tons. These stones were hauled from a quarry more than 500 miles away and then hoisted to incredible heights. The chamber itself is designed to withstand the crushing weight of the masonry above it, with a series of relieving chambers built overhead to distribute the immense pressure, a principle still used in modern architecture. The methods used to build the pyramid remain one of history's greatest mysteries. Were massive, spiraling ramps constructed and then dismantled? Did builders use a system of internal ramps or sophisticated counterweights? While we debate the techniques, the pyramid itself holds clues in its very geometry. The ratio of its perimeter to its original height mirrors the relationship between the Earth's circumference and its radius, a mathematical coincidence that seems too profound to ignore. Was this a deliberate encoding of geographical knowledge, a message from the architects to the future? The Great Pyramid stands as a silent library of lost engineering, its most profound secrets still locked within the enduring stone. While the pyramid stands as a testament to stone, another ancient structure reveals a mastery of an entirely different material. In the heart of Rome, the Pantheon's dome floats as if suspended by some invisible force. Completed under Emperor Hadrian around the year 126, its vast concrete ceiling remains the world's largest of its kind, built without a single steel bar for reinforcement. This was not a feat of brute strength, but of brilliant, calculated design. The most striking feature is the oculus, a circular opening 27 feet across at the very top of the dome. This great eye to the sky does more than just allow light and rain to pour in. It acts as a keystone, relieving the immense weight of the structure and preventing the dome from pushing its supporting walls outward. The Romans understood the forces at play intuitively. They engineered the dome to be a perfect hemisphere, with walls that are 20 feet thick at the base but taper to a mere 5 feet at the oculus. Even more cleverly, the concrete itself changes as it rises. The lower levels use heavy travertine stone, but as the dome climbs, the mix incorporates lighter and lighter materials, including volcanic pumice, effectively making the top layers buoyant. Look closer and you will see the ceiling is not solid, but carved with 140 coffers, those recessed square panels that create a mesmerizing pattern. This was not merely for decoration. Each coffer carefully removes excess weight without sacrificing the dome's structural integrity, a principle of optimization that modern engineers still emulate. How could they possibly calculate these complex stresses without computer models or finite element analysis? Their genius was empirical, built on generations of observation, trial, and sometimes tragic error. They learned from collapses, they refined their arches and vaults, and they developed a concrete recipe so durable that it has actively survived earthquakes and 2 millennia of weathering, while modern concrete often crumbles after 50 years. The Pantheon is not a relic, it is a living lesson in material science, a silent masterclass from the ancient world that continues to challenge our assumptions about the limits of their knowledge. Far from the grand domes of Rome, on the most isolated inhabited island on Earth, a different kind of ancient ambition took shape. The Moai of Easter Island are a silent army of giants, their stern gazes fixed inland from the coastline. Carved from volcanic tuff between the 13th and 16th centuries, these monolithic figures stand as tall as a 3-story building and can weigh over 80 tons. Their creation was a monumental task, but the greater mystery lies in their journey. How did a society with no wheels, no draft animals, and no metal tools move these colossal statues miles across a rugged, hilly landscape? The answer may be as dynamic as the statues themselves. While the traditional image involves them sliding on log rollers, compelling recent experiments suggest a far more dramatic method, that the Moai were literally walked to their platforms. Imagine teams of skilled workers using a complex system of ropes, rocking the massive figure from side to side, inching it forward with a controlled, upright gait. This would not be an act of brute force, but a carefully choreographed dance, a testament to a deep, intuitive understanding of physics and center of gravity. Each step would have required perfect coordination and communication, a rhythmic effort that turned the land itself into a partner in the transport. This incredible feat of engineering is matched only by the artistry of their creation. The Moai are not crude blocks of stone, they are individuals. Each one possesses distinct facial features, strong brows, and prominent jaws, all carved with remarkable precision using stone hand tools. Many were also crowned with a pucao, a separate topknot of red scoria stone quarried from a different part of the island, which alone could weigh as much as 12 tons. This was a society with specialized artisans, a clear artistic vision, and the organizational skill to manage a multi-stage production chain spanning quarries, transport routes, and final placement. The true driving force behind this immense effort was spiritual. The Moai were not mere monuments, they were revered representations of ancestral chiefs, believed to hold supernatural power or mana. They were placed on ceremonial platforms called ahu to watch over the living community, a permanent link between the past and the present. This profound cultural belief provided the motivation to undertake projects that stretched their resources and ingenuity to the absolute limit. The story of the Moai is a powerful reminder that when human determination is fueled by shared purpose, even the most isolated community can achieve what seems, from the outside, to be utterly impossible. Etched into the arid plains of southern Peru, the Nazca Lines transform the desert floor into a colossal gallery. Created over a 1,000-year period beginning around 500 BCE, these immense geoglyphs depict everything from geometric spirals and trapezoids to stylized animals like a hummingbird, a spider, and a monkey. Their scale is almost incomprehensible from the ground, with some figures stretching over 600 feet long. The true grandeur of these designs only reveals itself from high above, raising an immediate question. How, and more importantly why, did a people without the power of flight create art intended for a viewpoint they could never physically experience? The secret to their longevity lies in the environment itself. The Nazca Desert is one of the driest places on Earth, with negligible rainfall and a stable, windless climate. The creators simply removed the dark, sun-baked surface stones to expose the lighter-colored sand beneath. This created a natural contrast that has been preserved for over 2 millennia by the very stillness of the landscape. But this preservation is only part of the mystery. The real feat was the initial execution. How do you outline a perfect 600-foot hummingbird with such clean, continuous lines without modern tools? The prevailing theory is one of brilliant scaling. Artisans likely created small, detailed models on a manageable scale. They would then transpose this design onto the desert canvas using a grid system of stakes and ropes. A single step on the model might equal 10 paces on the ground, allowing teams to meticulously reproduce the curves and angles one section at a time. Maintaining straight lines for miles across uneven terrain required a sophisticated grasp of basic surveying. They may have used a series of aligned marker posts sighted by eye, or even employed the shadows cast by the sun to chart their paths with incredible accuracy. The purpose behind this immense effort is where the true mystery deepens. Were these pathways for ceremonial processions, where communities walked the lines as a form of spiritual practice, connecting with deities or ancestors? Some researchers suggest the lines functioned as a vast astronomical calendar, with certain alignments pointing to celestial events like the solstice sun or important star groups. Others propose a more intimate connection to water, a precious resource in the desert, with the figures acting as spiritual pleas to the mountain gods for life-giving rain. The Nazca Lines are more than just ancient art. They are a profound expression of a culture's worldview. They represent a desire to inscribe meaning onto the earth itself, to create a permanent legacy visible to the forces they believed shaped their world. This immense project speaks to a universal human impulse to reach beyond the immediate and create something that endures, a message written not on stone but on the very skin of the planet. While the Nazca creators were marking the earth for the heavens, another ancient culture was quietly probing the fundamental forces of nature. In the basement of the National Museum of Iraq sits a small, unassuming clay jar, a relic from the Parthian or Sassanid era some 2,000 years ago. It appears to be a simple storage vessel, but its contents tell a different story. Inside, a copper cylinder houses an iron rod, sealed at the top with an asphalt plug. This is the Baghdad Battery. When this jar was filled with an acidic substance like vinegar or grape juice, it became a functional electrochemical cell, capable of generating a little over 1 volt of electricity. That single volt, a faint whisper of power, is enough to challenge our entire timeline of discovery. For centuries, the common narrative held that the principles of electricity were not understood until millennia later. Yet here is tangible proof of an ancient device that could produce a consistent current. What was its purpose? The most compelling theory suggests it was used for electroplating, the process of depositing a thin layer of one metal, like gold, onto the surface of another, such as silver. A small electrical current is all that is needed to facilitate this chemical transformation, creating gilded objects that would have held immense value and spiritual significance. But perhaps its use was more experiential. A mild shock from such a device could have been interpreted as a touch from the divine, a physical sensation used in religious rites or ceremonial practices to create a profound connection to unseen forces. This was not just a tool, it was a philosophical demonstration. It shows a culture actively experimenting with the natural world, observing chemical reactions and harnessing them, however modestly, for practical or spiritual ends. Modern scientists have built countless replicas that confirm its functionality beyond any doubt. This object forces a difficult question. Was this a lone, curious invention, or was it part of a broader, now lost, tradition of inquiry into electrical phenomena? What other simple applications might have existed, from medical treatments to the preservation of materials, that simply left no trace in the archaeological record? The Baghdad Battery stands as a quiet but insistent reminder that the spark of discovery can ignite in any era, and that our modern understanding often rests upon foundations laid by inquisitive minds we have yet to fully recognize. High in the Andes, the stone walls of Sacsayhuaman rise with a silent, formidable intelligence. This 15th-century Inca fortress near Cusco is not built with mortar or cement, but with a breathtaking geometric puzzle. Its most famous sections are composed of colossal limestone blocks, some weighing as much as 200 tons, each one cut and shaped to interlock perfectly with its neighbors. The joints between these megaliths are so precise that even the thin blade of a razor cannot find a gap. This was not merely a display of stonemasonry, it was a profound engineering solution to a constant threat. In a region shaken by frequent and powerful earthquakes, these walls were designed to survive. The irregular, polygonal shapes and the complex network of interlocking edges allow the entire structure to sway and settle during seismic activity, the stones rocking and then settling back into place without collapsing. How did a culture without iron tools or the wheel achieve such a perfect fit? The method was one of immense patience and empirical mastery. Workers likely used harder stones to pound and abrade the surfaces, repeatedly testing the fit between two blocks, lifting and lowering them until the contact was total. This patient, iterative process transformed each stone into a unique key for its specific lock, creating a monolithic mosaic of unparalleled resilience. Transporting these giants from quarries miles away was another feat of human coordination. Without beasts of burden, the effort fell entirely to thousands of workers. They likely moved the stones on log rollers, using earthen ramps and a complex system of ropes and levers to inch them up the mountainside, a slow, rhythmic dance of collective strength and determination. But the design of Sacsayhuaman served more than just structural genius. The wall's formidable zigzag pattern, seen from above, creates a series of defensive terraces. Any attacker attempting to scale them would be funneled into deadly channels, exposed from three sides in what military historians call a kill zone. Yet this same pattern is also believed to mirror celestial alignments, its teeth perhaps representing the constellations revered by the Inca. This fusion of the practical and the cosmic is the true hallmark of Inca engineering. Every stone was more than a building block. It was part of a living landscape, a reflection of a worldview where human endeavor, geological forces, and the heavens were inextricably linked. The fortress stands not as a ruin, but as a lasting lesson in how to build in harmony with the earth, using observation and persistence to create something that the earth itself cannot easily break apart. Deep within the crypts of the Hatha temple at Dendera, a stone relief presents a puzzle carved in light and shadow. This image, dating to around 100 BCE, shows a strange and compelling scene. A large, transparent vessel, shaped like an elongated pear, is held aloft by a pillar. Inside, a serpent stretches the full length of its body, its head pointing toward one end. A cable seems to connect the base of this object to a box, which is steadied by a figure, while another holds the vessel itself. To a modern eye, the resemblance is uncanny. It looks exactly like a giant, archaic light bulb. Could this be a literal depiction of an electrical device, a technology preserved only in symbolic art? Mainstream Egyptology offers a different, deeply symbolic interpretation. Here, the serpent represents the god Hemsut, emerging from a lotus flower, which itself is a symbol of creation and rebirth. The entire scene is thought to illustrate a foundational myth, the moment of life emerging from the primordial waters, a concept central to Egyptian spiritual beliefs. The cable is seen not as a wire but as a stylized lotus stem, and the box as a divine shrine. This explanation connects the image to a rich tapestry of known mythology, where symbols were never just pictures but containers of profound cosmic truths. Yet the detail is so specific, so mechanically evocative, that it continues to fuel alternative theories. The snake, poised in the center, mirrors the filament in a bulb. The pillar it rests on could be interpreted as an insulator, and the box a power source, perhaps even a device like the Baghdad Battery. Proponents of this view ask a simple question: what if the Egyptians were representing a real, but rare, technological artifact using the only symbolic language they had? They understood the electric catfish and its shocking power, so the concept of natural electrical force was not alien to them. Whether the Dendera relief is pure myth or a glimmer of lost science, its true power lies in what it reveals about the ancient mind. This was not a culture that separated the spiritual from the mechanical. Their art was a language that could describe both the journey of a soul and the function of a potential device, seeing both as expressions of the same cosmic energy. The carving challenges us to expand our own definitions of technology and to consider that the spark of an idea, whether for a light bulb or a creation myth, originates from the same profound human drive to push back the darkness and understand the world. Standing in a quiet complex in Delhi, a single pillar of iron defies the very nature of time. This is not a modern sculpture, but a monument forged in the 4th century, and for over 1,600 years, it has braved monsoons, humidity, and pollution without succumbing to the rust that should have consumed it centuries ago. The pillar rises 23 feet from the ground, weighing more than 6 tons, and was created to honor a king, Chandragupta II. But its true legacy is not the inscription it bears, but the silent, scientific miracle of its existence. Modern analysis has uncovered the secret to its longevity, a high concentration of phosphorus within the iron. This element, combined with skilled forging, encouraged the formation of a thin, protective layer on the surface called mesawite. This film acts as an invisible shield, a barrier that actively resists the corrosive effects of oxygen and water. To achieve this, ancient metalworkers had to produce iron of exceptional purity on a staggering scale. The pillar was not cast, but painstakingly hammer-welded from individual masses of hot iron, a technique that would not become common until the Industrial Revolution over a millennium later. How did they manage such a feat without precise temperature controls or chemical assays? Their method was one of profound sensory skill, reading the color of the molten metal, the sound of the hammer strike, and the texture of the slag to judge quality. They operated furnaces that could sustain incredibly high heats, likely using elaborate bellows systems, and they possessed a deep, generational knowledge of ore selection and refining. This was not a lucky accident. It was the product of a sophisticated tradition of materials science. The pillar's endurance offers a direct challenge to our assumptions about ancient technology. It suggests a level of quality control and empirical understanding that rivals modern engineering. Scientists today study its unique phosphoric composition, hoping to unlock secrets for creating longer-lasting steel and new anti-corrosion coatings for everything from bridges to ships. This ancient monument, therefore, is not just a relic of the past, it is an active participant in modern research. Its silent, rust-resistant form poses a profound question about the nature of progress. How much advanced knowledge was cultivated, used, and then forgotten, leaving behind only these enduring puzzles for future generations to unravel? Long before the first stone of the Great Pyramid was laid, a hilltop in southeastern Turkey was being transformed by a vision we are only beginning to comprehend. Göbekli Tepe, dating back to an astonishing 9600 BCE, is a complex that shatters the conventional timeline of human civilization. Its creators were not farmers living in cities, but communities of hunter-gatherers, people we traditionally picture as nomadic bands focused solely on survival. Yet here they erected a sprawling sanctuary of massive, T-shaped limestone pillars, each one weighing between 10 and 20 tons. These stones were quarried from nearby bedrock, dragged up the hill, and set into precisely arranged circles, all without the wheel, without metal tools, and without the settled agriculture we assumed was necessary for such grand projects. The pillars themselves are not crude monoliths. They are masterpieces of prehistoric art, covered in finely carved reliefs of animals, foxes, scorpions, and birds, their forms rendered with a clarity and confidence that speaks of a sophisticated symbolic language. This was not a settlement but a ceremonial center, a cathedral from the dawn of time. What powerful belief, what shared social purpose could have compelled these early people to invest generations of labor into this sacred hill? The answer may be written in the stones themselves. The arrangement of the pillars is not random. Specific enclosures appear to be aligned with celestial events. their orientations possibly tracking the solstice sun or significant star clusters. This suggests the builders possessed a developed astronomical knowledge, observing the heavens and encoding their understanding into the very architecture of their ritual space. Göbekli Tepe forces a profound rethink of our own history. It demonstrates that the drive to create monumental architecture, to seek meaning in the cosmos, and to organize large-scale communal efforts did not emerge from farming, but may have actually preceded it. The spiritual and social need to build this place could have been the very catalyst that later spurred the development of agriculture as a way to sustain the large groups of people gathered here. This site stands as a silent, monumental question mark against our easy assumptions about progress, proving that the human capacity for complex thought and collective achievement is far older and far more profound than we ever knew. From the silent endurance of the iron pillar, we turn to a network of stone arteries that gave life to an empire. The Roman aqueducts were not merely channels for water, they were the very pulse of urban civilization, a gravity-fed miracle stretching for hundreds of miles. Beginning in 312 BCE, these structures conquered geography with a simple yet profound principle: water always finds its lowest level. But the application of this principle was anything but simple. To move water across 50 kilometers of rolling landscape, as with the magnificent Pont du Gard in France, engineers had to achieve a gradient so slight it seems impossible. The aqueduct descends a mere 17 meters over its entire length, a fall of less than the height of a single-story building. This required a level of precision in surveying that challenges belief. Without lasers or electronic tools, they used an instrument called a chorobates, a long water level on legs, to ensure their path maintained this perfect, gentle slope for mile after mile. The iconic arches we associate with these structures were a masterstroke of practical engineering. They allowed the water channel to cross deep valleys and rivers without interrupting the flow, distributing the immense weight of the stone and water efficiently to the supporting piers. This design was not just about strength, it was about economy, using less material to achieve greater spans and leaving the landscape below largely untouched. But the genius of the aqueducts extended far beyond the visible architecture. Inside, the channels were lined with a special Roman waterproof cement, a recipe that prevented precious water from seeping into the earth. Before water even entered the city, it often passed through massive sedimentation tanks. Here, the flow would slow, allowing sand, silt, and other impurities to settle out, a crucial step in early public health that provided relatively clean water to the populace. The scale of this achievement is measured in volume. A single aqueduct system could deliver millions of gallons of water to a city like Rome every day, supplying public baths, fountains, and private homes, and flushing away waste through a connected sewer system. This required a staggering degree of logistical coordination, from securing the funding and rights of way to managing thousands of workers and quarrying millions of tons of stone. How did they maintain a consistent flow without a single mechanical pump? The entire system was a testament to their deep understanding of hydraulics and their unwavering confidence in gravity itself. The aqueducts laid the foundational principles for the modern world's water supply networks, proving that the greatest engineering feats are often those that work in silent, seamless harmony with the forces of nature. Scattered across the river deltas of Costa Rica, hundreds of stone spheres lie as if dropped by a race of giants, fashioned by the Diquis culture over a period spanning more than 1,000 years. These enigmatic objects are monuments to a forgotten standard of perfection. Ranging from the size of a simple orange to colossal orbs over 2 meters across and weighing up to 16 tons, their spherical precision is the core of the mystery. How could a society without precision instruments or written records create such geometrically perfect forms from the unyielding materials of gabbro, limestone, and sandstone? The method was one of immense patience and sensory skill. Artisans likely began by fracturing large boulders with heat, then meticulously pecking and grinding the surfaces with hand-held stone tools. Through a process of constant measurement and comparison, they would have worked the stone down, achieving a symmetry so exact that modern surveyors find minimal deviation in their curves. This was not random shaping, it was a deliberate, generation-spanning pursuit of an ideal form, transporting these massive spheres from their inland quarries to their final locations presented a logistical puzzle as complex as their creation. The densest jungles and uneven terrain would have demanded ingenious solutions. Workers likely employed a system of wooden sledges, log rollers, and earthen ramps, using leverage and coordinated human strength to navigate the challenging landscape. Moving a single 16-ton sphere would have been a communal event, a slow, rhythmic procession that turned the jungle itself into a pathway for these sacred objects. The true purpose of the spheres continues to elude us, their meaning as polished and multifaceted as their surfaces. Some were arranged in alignments that correspond to celestial events, suggesting they functioned as a vast, open-air astronomical calendar. Other groupings placed near the dwellings of chieftains point to their role as symbols of power and social status. They may have also marked territorial boundaries or sacred spaces, their perfect shape representing cosmic unity or the enduring strength of a lineage. This incredible uniformity across hundreds of spheres reveals something profound. It indicates a standardized method of production and a shared mathematical understanding of geometry that was passed down through centuries. The spheres are not just art, they are a physical language, a silent code expressing a culture's deepest values. They stand as a unique fusion of artistic vision and geometric principle, a testament to the universal human desire to impose perfect order on a chaotic world. What stories of lineage, what maps of the heavens are still encoded in their silent, waiting circles? Locked away in a vault at Yale University is a book that actively resists being read. The Voynich Manuscript, created in the 15th century, is a dense codex of over 200 vellum pages, filled from edge to edge with an unknown script that has baffled every expert who has tried to crack it. The text flows in a neat, cursive hand, using characters that belong to no recognized alphabet, and its structure suggests a real language with patterns and grammar, yet it remains completely unreadable. Modern codebreakers, from wartime cryptographers to advanced artificial intelligence, have thrown their full power against its pages, and all have failed. This is not a simple cipher, it is a profound linguistic mystery. The true enigma, however, lies in its illustrations. The pages are alive with detailed drawings of plants that do not exist in any known botanical registry, their leaves and roots arranged in impossible configurations. There are intricate charts of the cosmos filled with unfamiliar constellations, depicting a night sky from a different world or a different understanding of our own. Other sections show tiny, nude female figures immersed in elaborate systems of pipes and vessels, suggesting a strange, symbolic biology. The precision in these images is undeniable, pointing to a systematic effort to catalog a body of knowledge. But what knowledge? Was this a pharmacopoeia of forgotten herbal remedies, an astronomical guide for a lost civilization, or a philosophical treatise on the human body encoded for safety? The very materials used, the vellum and the ink, are perfectly ordinary for the period, which deepens the puzzle. This was not made with magic inks or alien parchment. It was crafted by someone with the skill of a medieval scribe. So why pour such immense effort into a book designed to be incomprehensible? One theory suggests it is an elaborate, centuries-old hoax crafted to deceive a wealthy patron. Yet the internal consistency and complexity of the text argue against a random, meaningless forgery. Another possibility is that it holds genuine esoteric secrets, perhaps the coded findings of an alchemical school or a religious sect, its true meaning reserved for initiates alone. The unfamiliar stars in its astrological sections hint at a cosmological system that was suppressed, lost, or simply never shared beyond a small circle of thinkers. The Voynich Manuscript is more than a curiosity, it is a direct challenge. It forces us to confront the vast gaps in our historical record and to acknowledge that entire systems of thought, complete with their own languages and visual lexicons, could vanish without a trace. This book is a silent scream from the past, a reminder that the line between genius and madness, or between profound truth and elaborate deception, is sometimes written in ink we can no longer understand. Aboard a Byzantine warship, the sea itself could be turned into a weapon. This was the terrifying power of Greek fire, a liquid flame that defied the fundamental logic of combat. From the 7th century onward, this incendiary substance was the Byzantine Empire's ultimate naval advantage, a closely guarded state secret that protected its capital for over 700 years. Its most horrifying characteristic was its refusal to be extinguished by water. In fact, it seemed to feed on it, creating a blazing inferno that would cling to the wooden hulls of enemy ships and even burn across the surface of the waves. Panic would spread as sailors realized their primary defense, the sea all around them, had become their enemy. The delivery system was as advanced as the chemical itself. Byzantine soldiers used a pressurized siphon, a bronze tube mounted on their ships, which could project a continuous stream of this fiery liquid over a surprising distance. This was not a pot thrown by hand, it was a controlled, mechanized torrent of flame, a medieval equivalent of a modern flamethrower that turned naval warfare into a scene from a different age. What was in this devastating mixture? Its exact composition died with the empire, but historians and chemists have pieced together likely ingredients. The base was almost certainly a form of crude petroleum, similar to modern naphtha, which would give it the ability to float and burn persistently. The secret ingredient, however, was likely quicklime. This substance generates intense heat when it contacts water, potentially igniting the petroleum mixture upon impact and explaining why water only magnified the blaze. Other possible additives included pine resin to make the substance sticky and sulfur to produce noxious, choking fumes. The creation of such a weapon required more than just a lucky recipe. It represented a sophisticated understanding of chemical reactions and pressurized mechanics. Artisans had to master the dangerous process of mixing volatile components and then design a bronze pump and siphon system that could withstand the pressure and heat without catastrophic failure. The operators trained in this secret art were as vital as the weapon itself. How did a medieval empire develop and maintain such a technological monopoly? The answer lies in an absolute, ruthless commitment to secrecy. The formula for Greek fire was known only to a very few, likely a single family, and its production was compartmentalized so that no single person knew the entire process. This secrecy was so effective that despite its use in countless battles, the formula never truly fell into enemy hands. It simply vanished when the empire that nurtured it finally fell. Greek fire stands as a stark example of innovation born from conflict, a reminder that the drive to survive can catalyze leaps in applied science that seem to belong to a much later time. Perched on a razorback ridge high in the Andes, the stone terraces of Machu Picchu seem to grow directly from the mountain itself. This 15th century Inca citadel is a masterclass in environmental engineering, a city built in harmony with forces that would defeat lesser builders. Its structures were assembled with that now familiar Inca genius, stones cut with such geometric precision that they locked together without mortar, creating walls that danced during earthquakes rather than crumble. But the true brilliance of Machu Picchu lies not just in its stones, but in its water. The entire city is built atop a mountain that receives drenching rainfall, yet it has stood for centuries without washing away. The architects engineered a hidden underground drainage system, channeling water through carefully sloped foundations and stone conduits that prevented saturation and erosion, a silent, subterranean network that kept the city dry and stable. This hydrological foresight is matched by its celestial alignment. At the highest point of the complex, the Intihuatana stone rises, a carved granite pillar often called a hitching post for the sun. During the equinoxes, the pillar casts no shadow at noon, a dramatic demonstration of the Incas' profound astronomical knowledge, using the sun itself as a clock and calendar to mark the passing seasons. How did they plan this intricate metropolis without a written language to draft blueprints? Their language was the landscape. They used models made of clay and communicated complex plans through the quipu, a system of knotted cords that could record numerical data and perhaps even narrative information. The construction itself was a monumental feat of logistics. Every stone, every tool, every piece of supplies was carried up treacherous mountain paths by human porters, using an extensive network of roads and stairways carved into the cliffs. This was not a haphazard effort, but a coordinated, large-scale project managed with breathtaking organizational skill. Machu Picchu is the ultimate expression of a philosophy that saw no separation between the built environment and the natural world. Its terraces curve with the contour of the mountain, its buildings frame sacred peaks, and its water flows with the rhythm of the earth. It stands as a powerful symbol of how human ingenuity can flourish, not by conquering nature, but by listening to its wisdom and learning to build within its embrace. While the Byzantines mastered fire, a Han Dynasty scholar sought to understand the trembling of the earth itself. In the year 132, the imperial court witnessed a marvel of bronze and mechanics, the world's first seismoscope. Designed by the brilliant astronomer and engineer Zhang Heng, this ornate vessel stood as a sentinel against unseen dangers. 8 dragons snaked down its sides, each holding a bronze ball in its jaws, while below, 8 corresponding frogs sat with their mouths open, waiting. The principle was one of elegant simplicity. Inside the vessel, a carefully balanced pendulum was connected to a series of levers. When the faintest seismic waves, imperceptible to human senses, traveled from a distant epicenter, they would disturb the pendulum. This motion would trigger a single lever, releasing one ball from a dragon's mouth to clatter into the frog waiting directly below, clearly indicating the direction of the quake. The court once scoffed when a ball dropped for a tremor they could not feel, until messengers days later arrived from a province hundreds of miles away, confirming an earthquake from the very direction the device had pointed. How could such a sensitive instrument be calibrated without any understanding of modern wave theory? Zhang Heng's genius was entirely empirical. He relied on meticulous observation, likely correlating the instrument's responses with reports from distant regions over many years. He understood through practice, not theory, that different directions produce distinct internal motions, and he engineered his lever system to amplify and interpret these subtle differences. This was not magic, it was masterful applied mechanics. The seismoscope stands as a profound fusion of art and science, where the beauty of the casting served a vital, life-saving function. It provided the empire with its first ever early warning system, allowing officials to dispatch aid and assess damage to distant regions before official messengers could even arrive. This single device demonstrates a fundamental truth about ancient innovation, that the drive to protect communities from natural hardship could yield technological leaps that would not be replicated for over 1,500 years. It is a timeless lesson in how careful observation and practical ingenuity can unlock the secrets of the world long before the underlying science is ever formally written down. Across the channel from the complex of Stonehenge, another stone forest rises from the earth. In the French region of Brittany, the Carnac Stones stand in silent, orderly ranks, a monumental grid stretching over miles of landscape. Erected during the Neolithic period around 4,500 BCE, this is not a single monument but a vast collection of thousands of individual standing stones, or menhirs, arranged with breathtaking precision into long, parallel rows. To walk among them is to move through a geometry of the ancient mind, a deliberate design laid down over 5,000 years ago. The sheer scale of organization is staggering. How did a prehistoric society without written records or metal tools coordinate the quarrying, transport, and placement of so many multi-ton stones, achieving such remarkable uniformity in their height and spacing? The methods relied on community and simple physics, using wooden levers, ropes woven from natural fibers, and earthen ramps. Teams of people could have raised each massive stone. The transportation alone would have been a feat of immense communal effort, likely involving log rollers and a deeply coordinated, rhythmic labor that turned individual strength into a collective force. But the greater mystery is their purpose. The alignments are so precise that they cannot be accidental. Many researchers believe the rows functioned as a colossal astronomical observatory, their lines carefully positioned to mark the rising and setting of the sun and moon during key points of the year, like the solstices. This was a calendar carved into the landscape itself, a way for an early farming community to track the seasons that governed their survival. Others see the site as a sacred pathway, a ceremonial space where processions moved between the lines during rituals that connected the community to the cycles of nature and the cosmos. The endurance of these stones speaks to a profound understanding of the land. The builders chose their locations wisely, setting the bases deep into stable ground, using the local geology to ensure their sentinels would stand for millennia. What powerful shared belief could compel a people to invest generations of labor into this permanent inscription upon the earth? The Carnac Stones are a silent testament to a world view where the celestial and the terrestrial were one, where human ritual and cosmic order were intertwined. They challenge us to see our Neolithic ancestors not as primitive, but as meticulous astronomers and engineers, whose legacy is written not on paper, but in granite and time. High on the arid Bolivian Altiplano, the Gate of the Sun stands as a solitary page from a lost library of stone, carved from a single 10-ton block of andesite around 1,500 years ago by the Tiwanaku civilization. This monolithic archway is a testament to an artistic and scientific vision that feels both ancient and eerily precise. The entire surface is covered with a complex tapestry of carved figures, dominated by a central deity, whose stern gaze is framed by a radiating headdress of 24 rays, each ending in a human or animal face. This central figure is often interpreted as a solar god, a celestial being holding staffs that may symbolize thunder and lightning. The precision of these carvings is what first captivates the modern observer. Every line is sharp, every curve is fluid, etched into a volcanic stone so hard it would quickly destroy modern steel chisels. How did artisans achieve such flawless detail without metal tools? Their method was a testament to patience and profound material knowledge. They likely used harder stones like quartzite to patiently peck and grind the surface, coupled with abrasive sand and water to slowly polish the andesite to a smooth finish. This was not a swift process, but a ritual in itself, a meditative act of transferring a sacred design from the mind to the unyielding stone. But the gate is far more than a work of art. Its position and iconography suggest it was a sophisticated astronomical instrument. The entire structure is aligned to catch the first rays of the rising sun on the equinoxes, a day when light and darkness hang in perfect balance. On this morning, the sunlight would have illuminated the central deity in a dramatic display, connecting the heavens directly to the earth. Furthermore, the intricate carvings may have functioned as a complex calendar. The 48 squares flanking the central figure, divided into groups, could have tracked the cycles of the moon, the sun, and even Venus, allowing priests to predict seasonal changes and organize the agricultural and ceremonial life of the city. This fusion of art, religion, and science is the true genius of the Tiwanaku. The gate's creation was a multi-stage marvel of engineering that began miles away at a distant quarry. Transporting a 10-ton block across the rugged landscape required advanced logistics and a deep understanding of simple machines. Workers likely used a system of log rollers, earthen ramps, and ropes, employing leverage and coordinated human force to move the stone inch by painstaking inch. This logistical prowess extended throughout their civilization, evident in their raised field irrigation systems that transformed the harsh altiplano into productive farmland, and in their urban planning that organized a major city with precise alignments. The Gate of the Sun, therefore, is not an isolated mystery. It is the symbolic heart of a culture that saw no separation between the spiritual and the scientific, where understanding the stars was as essential as knowing how to move a mountain. It represents a worldview where every engineering feat, every carved line, was an act of communion with the cosmos. While the Gate of the Sun tracked celestial movements on land, another culture was unlocking the secrets of light itself to conquer the open ocean. Viking sagas speak of a mysterious solarstein, a sunstone that could reveal the sun's position on completely overcast days. For a seafaring people navigating the treacherous gray expanse of the North Atlantic between the 9th and 11th centuries, such a tool would have been more valuable than gold. Modern research suggests this legendary object was likely a crystal of calcite, a transparent mineral known for its unique property of double refraction. When you look through a calcite crystal, you see two images. By rotating the stone until these two images align in brightness, a navigator could pinpoint the exact location of the hidden sun, even through dense cloud cover or just below the horizon. This works because the crystal filters polarized light, a subtle quality of sunlight that scatters through the Earth's atmosphere. The Vikings did not need to understand the physics of polarization. They only needed to observe its consistent, reliable effect. Experimental archaeologists have taken replicas of these sunstones out on the water, confirming that the method is not just plausible, but remarkably accurate, providing a bearing true to within a single degree. How did Norse explorers first stumble upon this natural marvel? It was likely a process of deep empirical observation, born from generations of watching how light behaves in their northern world. They would have noticed how certain crystals created strange visual effects when held to the sky, and through patient trial and error, learned to harness this phenomenon for survival. This was not abstract science, but applied physics discovered through necessity. The sunstone represents a brilliant fusion of natural resource and human ingenuity, a portable instrument that gave the Vikings a critical edge. It allowed them to venture farther than any other European culture of their time, reaching the shores of North America centuries before Columbus, all guided by a piece of crystal that could see through the clouds. This quiet understanding of light's hidden behavior stands as a powerful testament to how the most profound technological leaps can begin with simply learning to see the world in a different way. Yet the human desire to shape the environment, so evident in the Norse mastery of the sea, found one of its most legendary expressions not on the water, but in the heart of a desert. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon rise from the pages of ancient texts as a vision of impossible greenery. Greek and Roman historians described a magnificent terraced structure, a man-made mountain of ascending gardens, lush with trees and exotic plants, built in the 6th century BCE by King Nebuchadnezzar II for his homesick wife. This wonder was said to be a green oasis in the arid plains of Mesopotamia, a testament to royal power and sheer horticultural ambition. The central, staggering question of its engineering is how such a garden could have been sustained. To keep plants alive in that climate would have required a constant, massive supply of water, lifted from the Euphrates River far below to the highest terraces. Ancient accounts suggest the answer was a sophisticated water lifting system, likely a chain pump. This device would have used a continuous loop of buckets mounted on a chain, powered by workers turning a treadmill, to raise water from the river to a reservoir at the garden summit. From there, a network of channels and sluices would have distributed the life-giving water down through each level, a constant, engineered rainfall. The knowledge required for such a feat was immense. Builders would have needed a practical understanding of hydraulics to maintain consistent water pressure and prevent leaks across the entire structure. They would have also mastered a form of soil science, creating deep, fertile planting beds that could support large trees on stone terraces, and they likely used waterproofing materials like lead sheets or layers of tar to protect the brickwork and foundations from constant moisture. This was not merely a garden, it was a monumental machine for living nature, a fusion of architecture, mechanics, and botany. The very concept of the gardens embodies a timeless human impulse to create a pocket of paradise through technology and artistry, to defy the limits of a landscape and manifest a king's love or a nation's pride in stone and leaf. Whether the gardens were a physical reality or the most beautiful of literary inventions, their enduring legend challenges us to consider how far ancient engineers were truly willing to go to reshape the world according to their grandest dreams. From the intricate gears of the Antikythera Mechanism to the earthquake-defying walls of Sacsayhuaman, a single truth emerges from these 20 ancient marvels. They were not built by accident or by supernatural means, but by cultures with a profound and sophisticated understanding of their world. These civilizations achieved the impossible through patient observation of the stars, through generations of trial and error, and through the collective strength of entire communities united by a shared purpose. They did all of this in many cases without the written word, relying instead on oral tradition and embodied skill passed from master to apprentice. Their legacy challenges the very notion that history is a simple, upward climb of progress. Instead, it reveals a vibrant tapestry, woven with threads of brilliant innovation, heartbreaking loss, and patient rediscovery. Each of these wonders is a question posed to our modern arrogance, asking us to look again and to look deeper. As our technologies allow us to study them with new eyes, we do more than just solve historical puzzles. We gain a new library of solutions, a deep well of inspiration for our own modern challenges in engineering, sustainability, and social organization. These silent stones and corroded gears remind us of the incredible potential that resides within human curiosity and collaboration. They ask us to reflect on what we, today, might be capable of achieving when we combine our knowledge with the timeless drive to create. What do these ancient achievements reveal to you about the boundless capacity of the human spirit? Share your perspective in the comments, and if you are eager for more journeys into history's greatest enigmas, be sure to subscribe. Our next exploration is already waiting, inviting you to discover how another forgotten chapter of the past can reshape your understanding of what is possible.